Yeah. Oh, whoa. Let it grow. Baby, I don't know. Baby, I can't grow any more than I can. Everybody already knows that I'm the man. I have a plan. I have a plan. Stand up. We yelling in the stands. Crowd work. Everybody know that we put in work. Everybody jumping around like they about to twerk. But I ain't finna be me. Cause I just do work like BB. You already know. Everybody skateboard down this hoe. I used to skateboard when I was a bit younger. Hurt my knee one time and then I gave up on that shit, but not really. I really tried. I really thought I probably could have died, but I put my own mind set on something else. Music making, that's my best belt. Used to get hit with a belt. Used to make girls melt, but not anymore. My mental is focused on something so far off the shore. Are you really sure, baby? Really love me? Cause are you really sure? Put nothing above me, cause baby, I want a little more. Are you a little sure? I'm not a little sure anymore. Word, word. Welcome back to the stream, everybody. So, this is just the stream. I'm gonna talk about me going on vacation for 7 days. Not that anyone cares, but I'm gonna be on vacation for 7 days. I'm gonna be gone into the shadows, and I'm just here to talk about what I'm doing, where I'm going, where it's snowing. So, I have a girlfriend. Whether you knew that or whether you did not know that, it's now you do. And I'm going to meet her family. So I'm super duper scared, of course, as any person would be, because unbeknownst to her, I guess I plan on marrying her. Obviously, it's not gonna be like now, like tomorrow, but it's just like it's gonna happen. So with that intent, this trip is like a really big thing to me because I'm like I want to make sure her family likes me, but also I'm gonna be myself. So the thing about it is like if they don't like me for myself, like what do I do? You know what I mean? Like what do I really? How do I? What's the next step? So I'm sure my girlfriend will like me for who I am and continue to date me, you know. But it's a long distance relationship that's coming to an end. So it's like this is the final strand, the final plunge into the deep. And I've been asked a lot, like, "Oh, are you ready for the move? Are you ready? This and that." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm ready." No doubt about it. There's no inkling in my mind because I'm getting stuff set up here at my place and like moving stuff around. I gotta really complete all that tomorrow. But yeah, I'm terrified, right? Not of us being together, but me meeting her family. And I think it just boils down to what I said before. It's like I'm not somebody to fake anything. I'm just gonna be myself, and I also feel like being myself. I'm a kind of weird person, kind of weird guy, But I feel like being myself is like more so an issue. Does that make sense? Like what? Because if I'm myself, right, and they don't like me for me being myself, I can't be anyone else. So that's my mindset going into this whole thing, just trying to kind of rationalize how to be the best version of myself that I possibly can. So, but and I really I really feel like I've done a lot of growing in my life, and it's very interesting because I had a friend tell me today. She was like, Jordan, I don't think anything can like change your temperament, can get you angry that you would really like, you know, uh, anything. Basically, I don't think anything can really get you angry or upset. I'm like, that's partially true, but it's like a double-edged sword. It's a good thing, it's a bad thing because a lot of instances, even when like I think and when I tell people I'm being serious and when I mention serious and when I like really try to sternly get something across, people are like, ah ha ha, oh man, you're such a jokester. And I'm like, I I wasn't I wasn't joking. But yeah, but still, that's tough to deal with. But at the same time, it's more so just like being able to regulate my emotions and be able to openly talk about things that I have problems with. Whether it be depression, whether that be me just dealing with everyday things, whether it be first world problems, whether it be concerns about you know the crazy stuff that's happening in the world right now. But it's so weird being in this position in life because I feel like this is like I'm climbing up a mountain, right? And I've fallen down this mountain so many times, right? Whether it be different girlfriends, whether it be life tribulations, whether it be my suicide attempt, whatever it was, I'm climbing up this mountain through my life, and I keep falling, I keep falling, I keep falling, right? And now I finally feel like I'm climbing this mountain, and I'm on a steady pace. I'm really like digging in. I'm setting ropes. I'm rappelling myself. Keeping safety restraints on. Like I really feel like I plugged and pegged and put all the pieces that I need to put where they need to be placed for me to continue to go up this mountain. And I feel like I'm at a steady stride. But there's an obstacle that stands in the way, and I have to pass this obstacle, and I'll be at the top of the mountain, or I'll be forever on a steady climb. Where I know that like there's no more impassable objects. There's things that are always, life. There's things that are always gonna get to you up and down all around. But I feel like, I'm on a steady climb, bro. Like minus hours. It's the climb. You know what I mean? Like I'm really like doing it. But that doesn't change, just my fear of like, because I've known for so long that like I don't care what people think about me. But when I was younger, I did heavily, right? And I've met other like families before, et cetera. But I didn't care then. I don't know why I didn't care back then. Maybe it wasn't that meaningful to me, maybe. But I didn't care then, and I care deeply now. Like I really, really care now about how well this is gonna go because, in my mind, like this is it. Like this is the final time for me to, you know. But with all that said, my girlfriend is, and I'm sure that it's weird to say because I'm like other people have gone through this, I'm sure, but she's the woman of my dreams, and I know that it's kind of weird to probably hear, and if you're single like I was, 6 months ago, I'll be like, I'm not trying to listen to this. But my main point is that, I met this girl in 2017, and I knew back then that like I wanted to be with her, but she didn't like me, and I kind of just accepted that. And a lot of people, a lot of dudes, they kind of don't do that whole letting the girl know that they like them kind of thing. They kind of just like be like the friend, stay trapped in the friend zone, et cetera, et cetera. But I've learned do like literally like movies and like TV shows and like other people's experiences that I read or talked about to them, whatever. That's always ends up negative. Like sometimes that's for sure, right? Like maybe you can have a positive this and that, but most of the time it's always negative because you either don't have a real friendship with a girl, and you're always, second guessing things and having weird like sayings here and there. But at the same time, it's like, oh, maybe there's a chance. But I thought, no, there's no chance. So I gave up. And that was the healthiest thing to do, right? Because we became genuine friends. Like, I considered her back then like one of my best friends, right? Like on the lines of like all my homies, And I take that to this day. Like I have a lot of homegirls who are my friends now who are like, I can call them up. I say, hey man, I love you. Hope you're doing well. Da, da, da. They're like, oh, I love you too, Jordan. Da, 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 this and that. And it's kind of just because they're my homies. They're all my homies. There's no, you could be platonic friends with an opposite gender. It's easy, So, what I believe is easy. And with that being said, it's hard, right? because I've been through it. Being single is hard. You know, the dating life is hard. Finding the right person is hard. You know, it's not gonna be easy. But I think that separating yourself from someone who doesn't like you was the best thing I ever did, because I was able to live life and truly just kind of like let everything be free, right? But this is what brings me to the story of how she told me everything. So, like I said, we've been friends for 4 years, right? I told her I liked her like in the first couple years I knew her, and she's like, I don't like you. I'm like, that's cool, right? No problem with me. I move on with life. I have other girlfriends, you know. Life goes on. So she's just we homies. We talk every now and again. It's kind of this and that, you know. Life, you just push on. But out of the blue, she's like, "Oh, I'm coming down to your place where you live." I'm like, to hang out for New Year's, and I'm like, oh, "Okay, sure, whatever. We're friends." Like other homies that come visit me for random times or random things, and I'm like, no different. So for me, I'm like, it's just another homie. I'm about all my other homies. Like it's like a whole batch of people. Like, let's just all go out for New Year's. It's gonna be fun. That's what I thought. I'm just kidding. So yeah, so she comes down here, and just regular, like we eat lunch a couple times, and then the next day we go bowling with all my friends. So I'm like, hey, come bowling. We go bowling every Friday. So come meet all my homies. And I'll show them, like, I'll tell her about it, like she's my homie, homegirl, this and that. And so I bet everybody I know. So this became after the fact, but there was somebody there who liked me. I didn't know that, but who I consider my friend, but they liked me. But that comes second to the story. So we get there. I'm driving around everywhere because I'm their designated driver. This is her vacation, so she's just hanging out, visiting her friends, stuff like that. She's having a great time. And so we go to the bowling alley. We bowl. One of my friends who likes me is being weird. Kind of weirdish, and I'm like, going on there, but I don't pay no mind to it. She's acting normal. My girlfriend. I'm like referenced her as my girlfriend, even though she wasn't at the time. But my girlfriend was acting normal, like as we were friends. So I'm like, okay, cool. So, but she's doing a few kind of weird things that she didn't do before. Like I'm bowling and she's like trying to get in my way and interfere with me bowling, or like saying different things that she would normally say. And I'm like, this is kind of weird. Why is she acting like this? It was kind of annoying to a point, right? Because I was like, bro, chill. You know what I mean? You're doing kind of too much. You're messing around a little bit too much, But sure enough, it was cool. Let's see, met all my homies, met our friends, everything was fine. And she's like, oh, my friends are down at the bar, so can you drop me off? I'm like, no problem. We go down to the bar, drop her off, her friends at the bar. I'm like, all right, well, just message me when you're done. See you later. She's like, you're not staying? I'm like, why would I stay? These are your friends. I don't know them. One of them I don't like, so I'm not hanging out with you guys. So, bye. Take care. So I go take my other friend home. To go back to her place, and she was being kind of weird. I was like, what's wrong with you? Lo and behold, she was like, oh, I kind of like you. But she didn't tell me that, but I was told that later on. And I was like, oh, so that's what that was. She just liked me, and she saw that my girlfriend, who was my friend at the time, was doing things kind of weird, but I'm oblivious to that kind of stuff. So, and anyways, so my girlfriend at the time, let's call her B. All right. So B is my girlfriend. So B is like, come get me. Shut up, phone. The B is like, come get me. I'm like, I just dropped you off, B. Like, I dropped you off maybe 10 minutes ago? 15? Are you ready to leave already? What happened? She's like, nothing happened. I'm just ready to go. I'm like, okay, sure. I'll come get you. Drop back over there. Go get her. Go inside, excuse me. She's like, oh, sit down. I sit down with all her friends. I'm like, I don't want to be here for this, whatever. I'm here for you, so whatever. So I'm not drinking because I'm driving. And then about 5 minutes of that conversation, she's like, I'm ready to go. I'm like, okay. So we get into the car. Now I'm going to step back to when I went back inside the bar. Because inside the bar, she had one of our homegirls there who was cute, right? So I was like, well, B, introduce your homegirl was her homegirl was kind of like a little bit intoxicated, but not drunk. So like we're flirting heavily, right? I think at one point in time she jumps into my arms, right? She's like, oh, you can't carry me. I was like, I can. It might not look that I can, but I was like, I've been working out. You know, it might not look like I've been working out, but my body's small. But I'm not weak as I was before. I can definitely lift you up. And I lift her up, no problem. I'm not struggling at all, right? But anyways, I'm playing with B's friend, and B tells me this later. She's like, that made her really, really jealous. I'm like, we weren't dating. I didn't know you liked me. You know what I mean? Like what? But either way, that's what made her want to leave. So I'm like, okay, bet. So we leave. I take her all the way back to my house because her car was at my place. I was like, all right, get out of my car. Go drive, to your friend's place so you can go to sleep. You're not drunk anymore. She's like, oh, I'm just so tired. I'm just so tired. She's like leaning her arm on me. I'm like, what is my friend doing? Like, imagine like your homeboy, like snuggling up to your arm. That's how it felt to me, right? Because I'm like we're bros. Like, I know you're a girl, but we're bros, bro. Like, get away from me. What are you doing? You know what I mean? She's like, oh, I can't go home, blah, blah. And I was like, well, I mean, if you want to talk inside my house, we can. And she's like, oh, you know what? I'll stay the night. I was like, what? I didn't say that. I was like, whatever. So, lo and behold, to her, I had a date planned, like, the next day, like, at 10 o'clock in the morning. And that girl who I was going on a date with was coming over to my house in the morning. So I'm like, I cannot have one of my best friends be staying here, and then my date come over here and see a girl leaving my apartment, right? I can't have that. There's no explanation of that, I'm like, it's just my friend. She's like, yeah, right, okay. So that's what I'm thinking in my mind. But we sit down, we're playing a card game, asking questions back and forth. And she's like, you should drink. And I'm like, I guess I can drink. I'm already at my house. Why not? I'll drink. So we're drinking. I'm drinking. She's drinking. We're just, I'm getting kind of a little bit tipsy at this point, right? And then she goes like, out of the blue, very serious, right? Super duper serious. She goes, I have something I have to tell you. Okay? And I go, okay. What do you gotta, we gotta let me know. Let me know what's going on. She's like, it's very, very serious. And I was like, okay, so what is it? Right? I'm just waiting for like, some kind of crazy prognosis. And okay. And so she goes, I like you. And I go, what? What do you mean? She goes, I like you. Like, I like you a lot. And I've liked you for a long time. To me, I'm like, okay, so you like I like you too, bro. What do you mean? Like do you mean like me? Because that's the terminology. Do you mean like me? Is that what you mean by like? He goes, yeah, I like you. I like you a lot. And she just goes silent. And I'm like, okay, so why? And so it proceeds an hour-long conversation of me asking why over and over again. Her goal is explicit detail, explaining why in different variations, different reasons, and different occurrences, instances that made her come to this revelation that she likes me, loves me, right? Because that happens in the conversation a little bit later on. And so my brain's swirling with all sorts of emotions, right? So I'm like, I don't believe this. 1 second, okay? But naturally, we're like laying on the floor, sitting down on the floor. We're talking this whole hour, and this whole hour we're like kind of laying on each other now, and I were like hugging each other, and I were just like, so now we're like in a comfortable position of just like what you would do when you're holding somebody that you're dating. And I'm like, what is this? What's happening, right? So eventually, we had this long, maybe 3-hour conversation. It goes from like 2 in the morning to like 5 in the morning, okay? And so I'm like, okay, so you have to give me some time, right? To really like get this through my head. So like, I just need some time to really like process it. And she's like, okay. Because in her mind, she thought, I was gonna say no, but she didn't let me know that at the time. But that was her thinking. Like she thought she would tell me that she liked me, that she loved me, and I would reject her, and that would just be the way it works. But I was like, give me some time to think. Okay, so the next day, woke up, right? We got breakfast. It's all still weird, you know, conversation pretending like it didn't happen the night before. We're kind of just like, we're back to normal friends. Ha ha ha. No, you just told me that you love me, but let's just go back to normal. So she leaves me alone, right? After we eat dinner, she leaves me alone. She goes to her friend's house where she's staying. And because this New Year's Eve, she's going to be later on that night for New Year's Eve party stuff, this and that. So I'm like, okay, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm praying, I'm talking. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? Like, what decision am I going to make in this? I don't know. I'm scared because I've never really like when I gave up. Like I stopped. I said that she doesn't love me, and now she does after all this time. And it's hard for me to get feelings back. When I let them go, they're gone, And I'm thinking like this is my brother, this is my ride or die, this is my dog. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not sexually attracted to my friend. You know what I mean? We're friends. That's what we are. And my mind's all in sorts and contorted and this and that. And eventually I come to the revelation. I'm like, okay, what if this works out? What if this? Let's think of the possibility of like the good things, all the good things. And I was like, this be good, this be good, this be good. I'm like, you know what? Okay, so let's not shoot this down. Let's really maybe she's really telling the truth. She really feels this, way about you. I'm like, okay, bet. Maybe she does. Simple. Let's do it. And so she comes over. A couple of my friends come over. We're all pre-gaming before we go to a couple of parties for New Year's Eve. And she's being very she switched modes. Okay, it's an alternative switch. Okay, she is definitely not friend mode anymore. She is activated. I am a pretty girl, and I'm here to convince you, to sway you, to swoon you mode. I've never seen this from B before, right? My brain's I'm a dude. You know what I mean? My brain's firing off on all cylinders. So my brain now I was like, okay, this might not be a bad idea, guys. We should really think the whole rethinking. We should just go, and then I'm drinking, she drinking, that night's all a blur to me. To be honest with you, I do know we kissed at New Year's because I remember. I don't know if she asked me or if it's just natural. Doesn't matter. But that was pretty much a still all be all deal. Then we started dating. We were apart. She lives 8 hours away from me, so we've been apart all this time. Now we come down to where we are right now on this day of March 28, 2023, where we're gonna meet on Thursday, 2 days, and be together, right? And we talked every day, conversated every day, communicated every day. Just nothing but just love and just sharing open conversations and what are our ideals and what we fight for, what we don't fight for, and we agree on a lot of things, we don't agree on some things, and compromises, and everything's it's just working out, right? But we've progressed so far, healthily and safely, and I was always like, maybe maybe she really hates me and she doesn't like me, and I'm like, we're here. She doesn't, and I'm still trying to slowly wrap that around my brain, okay, the girl of my dreams is now in love with me and we are dating, and and so I'm like, this trip has to go well for me. Well, just meeting her family. The trip can be the trip, regardless of how that trip goes itself. But meeting her family has to go well because there's no one else, right? There's no, I've had conversations and this and that with her that I would never have with anybody else. And even when I tried to have them, I'll get shut down, or they were like, men don't cry, or men don't show this kind of emotion, or you just, sex is the only thing that matters when it comes to, any kind of arguments or any kind of fights or constitutions or anything. It's just you're men like sex, and that's it. It's no, I'm an emotional being, and I think and talk a lot about this and that, and I want to hear about your day, and I want to hear about this and that. And all my other girlfriends, it's not their thing, So it's very cool to be with somebody who really fucks with me, heavily, that, you know, and that we've been best like we've been best friends for 4 years. No, we met in 2017. We've been like actual friends for a long time. So it's like weird having someone who knows me like before I became who I am today. You know, knows me way back then when I was kind of immature, kind of like, you know, snooty, kind of you know, stubborn, and knew that version of me. Right? They knew that version of me when I was a worst version of myself, I had to say. And she, you know, even with knowing that worst version of me become the better version that I am today, she still accepts me for who I am. And to me, that's very, you know, reassuring. Very reassuring that, you know, my girlfriend, that B, is just very like open and honest with all the conversation that we have. And it's so unique because I've never had that before. I've never had that, you know, that energy, that connection with somebody so strong that it's just so miraculous. And I never thought I would ever have it either. You know, people talk about, you know, love, this and that, and it's like, I don't know if I've ever really been in love. Maybe it's hard to state, but with all that said, you know, I've rambled on. I won't call this a ramble, but I've spilled my heart enough. You know, I've spilled it enough. Um, you know, I love my girlfriend probably more than I loved anybody. This is gonna suck because I'm scared and I'm ready to live with her, ready to spend the rest of my life with her. Scared that her family won't like me. But everybody tells me that I'm just being overly paranoid. So, but thank you guys for joining the stream. I was gonna like watch a video after this or something like that, but I feel like I want this video to be just saved forever, the way it is, you know. And I want to soil it with anything, because maybe I'll reference this back in 30 years. Or I'll go back and look at my young self watching, talk about my, you know, my wife of 30 years. Kind of cool, right? But yeah, this is a message to my future self. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, when you go back to watch this video, hey man, you're in a really good place, and at this moment, you're truly happy. It's crazy, right? Sure, you're like, you know, you go through your depressive days. I'm sure they'll never go away, but you're happy right now, man. Isn't that amazing? Because you never thought you'd ever be happy. Kind of cool, right? I'm sitting in it, and this is very like cathartic, you know. I love you. Hopefully you're loving yourself. Y'all take care. There's somebody out there for you, you know. Think about this: 8.6 billion people. That'd be somebody that loves you.